Hello, this is Dan Lascarba with the Optimist Brief, Head of Growth at Iris North America, here with Jae Yannick, entrepreneur, marketer, sports aficionado, and former Rock Nation, current Reebok, current champion. Can't wait to get into your story, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate you being here on the Optimist Brief. As you know, this is all about optimism, right? So I started this podcast as a reaction to some of the negativity that I was seeing. It felt like every single message out there was a doomsday story about how we were all going to be unemployed and AI was going to do all of our jobs at some point, right? Don't believe that. Grew up loving this kind of the business. Grew up loving marketing and advertising, and grew up loving brands. And you have a long history with some of the world's most iconic brands.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, can you just go through a little bit of your background and sort of where you've been and where you're at?
Yeah. So I started as a content creator on my own. I even go back before that just to give it to you. Like, I started as a fan, first of all. A fan, an actual real consumer, a fan of hip hop, a fan of streetwear, fashion. My grandmother and my mother put me into fashion ever since I was a young boy.
Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah, Tommy Hilfiger, Cross Colors, Nautica, you name it, back in the day. And then once social media took off, like really got into that, started content creating on my own. I'm the really hands-on guy. I'm the type of guy that actually wants to understand and learn how things work before I actually do them. I can't market them if I don't know exactly how it works. So I started grabbing cameras, iPhones, editing, shooting, getting lights. I had to find out, what lighting is, I started doing YouTube, taking photos, and then got noticed by some people in the industry and did a little bit of work for, let's say, like Jimmy Jazz, Kith back in the day, and then was noticed and got with Foot Locker and worked at Foot Locker for a little bit. Had a really good time there. I always call that my college, hands-on, that real experience. And after I was there, I went to Fila, where I was social media manager at Fila. Had a great time there too, just learning about, the heritage and the culture. And one of the things that I pride myself on is just working with brands that people call the underdog, the ones that people will say, oh, that's forgotten, or that was cool back in my day. Well, cool. Let me come in. Let me give some game. Let me see if I can rejuvenate and bring that culture back that once was into where we are now. So after that, I did an agency work, a little bit of Jordan Brand, a little bit of FDA, learning what the agency world was about, which is totally different from brand and retail. Yeah. And then what got me all the way here to, nope, I'm missing one spot. Went to Rock Nation. Not to mention. Went to Rock Nation, ran paper planes for like 2 years, had an amazing time.
Just solid paper planes building?
Yeah, it was a solid building right there. Had an amazing time there working with the likes of Emory Jones, alongside him, coming up with, a lot of creative marketing campaigns, rollouts, activations. We had a store in Soho at that time. So it was amazing to like really bring New York City out to that store and be celebrating. So it's like, if you think about the journey from the beginning, it's like everything that the universe gives you, it all comes back around. And so me being a child of hip hop and streetwear, and now look where I am working for Rock Nation, doing something for Jay-Z for hip hop and streetwear. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's like, oh, this is crazy. And so I felt right at home. But then after that, I left, and now I'm with ABG doing Reebok and Champion. We are here now today to do the same thing, just bringing that real culture and that community. I always live by the 3 C's: culture, community, and creativity. Just bringing that all together in a mesh that really dives into New York City, not even New York City, but the whole world. How can I really bring something out of you? Because it's not about product only. It's about a feeling that you get from the product.
I always say the brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, right? So it's what people are thinking and what people are expecting from you, and it's sort of a promise that's made by the company more than anything else. We love legacy brands. I think the ABG group is a really interesting group of brands. There's a lot of them, like you said, might be known as legacy, might be known as back in my day, but there was a cool factor there. There still is a cool factor there.
Oh, yeah.
And it feels like, and this is the most overused word in advertising, but authenticity matters. And I think if we have those stories of being a kid, like there's a reason those things come back, and it's because we have memories, we have feelings, we have stories that all involve those brands and those companies. So even you were in Nautica as a kid, it's like me too, man.
Yeah.
You can, and I think having those things, it's almost more credibility because we know they've been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those legacy brands tend to mean something. You mentioned Kith, and I think it falls perfectly within this theme of authenticity because that was years ago. And now every brand that wants to be cool says, "Let's partner with Kith." It feels like there's that really superficial attempt at authenticity as a way to tap into culture. Can you talk about sort of why it's important for brands to be who they are and maybe understand who they are versus just trying to piggyback off something that's already cool?
Yeah, you got to really tell your story. And the consumers these days can see through everything.
BS meter is high.
It's very high, and they'll let you know, and they'll come into comments and be like, "This doesn't make sense."
Call you out, yeah.
Call you out. It's like one of those things that everybody's trying to protect these days. So being authentic to yourself and telling your story in the way that it is, and not moving anything for anyone, is your cachet. It's like there's nothing else that you can go over it. It's bigger than anything. And shout out to Ronnie Feig back in the day when he was in the back of Atrium. That was my time when I was doing a little bit of work with him. But he always said, even back then, I'll never forget, he said, I'm going to be the biggest ever. I'm going to be the next biggest ever. And this is when he's in the back of Atrium. Now, look, he's got Paris or Chicago, New York, Miami, everywhere. It's like, oh, snap. He really meant that, and it's the power of manifestation for sure.
Tell me if you agree with this, but I have a theory that the things we think are cool and the people we think are cool are the ones who've been through struggles, right? So the reason I think legacy brands like the whole portfolio of ABG, but also a lot of other brands that we've talked about here, the reason they're cool is because they weren't always at the top. I think there's something very cool about things that have been hated on that had to come back. So it's not hard you can hit, it's hard you can get hit and get back up again. I think the brands have done the same sort of thing. So is that part of what has attracted you to the current role you're in and sort of some of these brands? Because they all have a story, of course, but maybe there's a bit of a challenge in that.
Yeah, no, I mean, what attracts me is just something that I feel I can tell a story from. Like I say, everything for me that I do, it doesn't matter what it is when it comes to friends, family, work, whatever. It's all about a feeling that I get from it. Does it get me excited? Does it wake me up every morning so I can get up out of bed and actually get there on time? Do I want to go there tomorrow? Last week I went to 3 concerts in a row. And this week I'm going to Fanatics Fest 4 days in a row. Most people will be like, yo, I'm staying home. I'm not doing this. But I have such a strong feeling about the things that I do. And I'm so passionate about it that it wakes me up. It gets me out of bed. It gets me there on time. It puts me to work. And I know the power of networking and the power of talking to people and getting things done.
Showing up.
Yeah, showing up is a very, very big skill for sure.
Okay, back to, I can't help but notice you look like you own the Knicks. And this city's been through it with the Knicks, so the whole world is happy for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how this city and the feeling around here has changed since?
Oh, it's been incredible. It's been incredible. We went to every night that they were playing here in New York. We went to a bar to make sure that we watched it and felt the energy. And one night I was at a party, and once I came out after the game, we had won. Literally, it was a freaking parade. And I'm like, we're not even there yet, and it's a parade, and it's like everybody's celebrating. But that energy is just keeping on. I'd say it's like the greatest summer that New York has ever had in a long time. It's amazing to even be alive in. It gives you a feeling, a sense of pride. It gives you like that feeling of, oh, okay, I can't wait to see what's next. People are very excited, and everybody's being nice to one another, and that pride is definitely there. It's like, people are wearing Knicks merchandise for fashion right now. They're wearing the finals tees, the hats as I am. Just everybody's like, yo, that Knicks pride is totally up, and New York is on a run. It's on a tear right now. I love it so much to see.
Knicks colorway Reebok's nice too.
Yeah,
it is awesome. I think joy does bring people together, and it's really cool to see. I've said it before in the podcast, but I was in Chicago when they won the World Series finally when the Cubs did. And, I wasn't a fan before moving there, but you can't help but have fun at a parade when everybody.
Forget about it.
And also, people waited a long time for that. So I think part of the struggle makes the joy that much more fun for people to be a part of. So
yeah,
I agree with you.
And they did the parade the right way.
Yeah,
they had hip hop involved. Fat Joe, Jadakiss, Remy Ma, like all on the float of their own performing. Fabulous.
They've been at the games for years.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, speaking of like authenticity, that's not BS. Like those guys are fans.
Yeah.
You know, it's a real thing. Okay, so I've read up on you a bit, and I first of all, I appreciate you being here, man. This is going to be the lowest profile thing you ever do.
Stop playing.
But I appreciate you, and I really do respect and admire your point of view. And also, you're not just a tough, cool guy. Like, you are those things, but I've also seen you be pretty vulnerable in issues like mental health, especially for men. Can you tell me why you think that's important to you, and why you've been able to put yourself out there and use your platform to talk about those things?
It's important it should be important to everyone, you know? It's important to me more than anything because I come from the world of we don't believe anything's wrong with you. You know, you might,
upper lip.
Yeah. You might be going through things and you're trying to translate that to your family and your friends, but they don't understand it because they've never seen it before. And then once the world started opening it up a little bit more and people became vulnerable after COVID, something happened. I think a light switch shifted. And everybody was going to the doctors, letting them know, hey, something's really wrong with me.
Yeah. I'm not feeling good.
And I'm not feeling good. I'm waking up every day. I don't want to leave the house. Still, after it's already open, I'm frazzled. What is wrong with me? And so once everybody started to really dive in and understand what was happening, whether it be depression, anxiety, things that you might be dealing with, whether you need therapy, talking to a psychiatrist, or actually taking medicine for it, it's something that people are now being vulnerable about, speaking about, and I can't be more than proud. So once that switch happened, I was like, yo, I really want to be a part of this, and I really want to speak up because I know a lot of people that go through things but keep it in the dark, and it's not really good to keep things in the dark. These are the things that you have to speak about and be honest about. You know, I get on planes, so I'm going to tell you, I have a fear of flying. You know, I fly all the time. I'm everywhere.
So you deal with that fear all the time?
I deal with that fear all the time. I literally will go up, if I'm having a bad day, I literally will go up to a stewardess and say, hey, I'm a little uneasy. They know what that means. Yeah. You know, I'm being honest about myself and letting you know, hey, I'm feeling uneasy.
But they can't help you unless you
let them know and you communicate that. And I feel like a lot more people should just be honest about how they're feeling that day. You know, a lot of different jobs have wellness rooms that you can go and take that time out, turn off the lights, and then, like, you know, get yourself together. But I'm just really proud of the journey that I've had personally and proud of the journey that I've been seeing a lot more people have. And I feel like if anybody out there is still, you know, in the closet about it, it's time for you to really come out and say how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. You know,
I appreciate you, man, because I was just at a celebration of life for a really good friend of mine. And the one thing his wife said in a beautiful speech she gave, which I can't believe she was able to give. But the thing that stuck with me the most is she's like, look at all these people here that he could have talked to. And every single one of those people was open to be talked to. But if that person who's struggling the most really has to be the one to say, hey, I'm not feeling good, right? I'm feeling different in these all sorts of ways. And I don't like how this is going. And every single person there wishes that he would have done that. And so I think it's an incredibly strong message that you're putting out there. I think it's useful and worthy for all types of different people, but especially for men. So I think that people like you put the message out there to communicate and to tell folks when you're struggling is a hugely important thing. So thanks for doing that. From the sort of heaviest possible topics, I want to talk about how you've seen culture change. I see you as a very intelligent observer of culture. And the Knicks thing ties into it for me. So we just did a pitch. We had a video on social media that we found, a young guy who said, hey, Knicks in 5, but man, I haven't had this much fun in a long time. Like, my buddies and I are going out on Wednesdays to watch these games. So he had this internal struggle of, man, I want this series to be over because I want to win, but also I've never had so much more fun. So he's like, Knicks in 5, but also can we keep partying like it's Knicks in 6 and Knicks in 7? Because he wanted to keep the fun going. So what have you observed, whether it's the Knicks or whether it's New York, whether it's the country, sort of an evolution in culture in that people getting out more? Because there's a sort of a lot of tropes about younger people than us probably, but folks who get too used to, you mentioned it with the COVID piece. It's like maybe communication is a bit of a muscle that people didn't flex for a while, and they prefer texting over talking. They kind of operate from behind closed doors a lot. Have you seen a more openness and people getting out there more? Maybe it's because of the Knicks, maybe it's because of something else, but
Yeah, recently a lot of people have been getting out more, I think. But, human beings, we just want to belong. Community is a really big thing. So everybody, even growing up, I had a cousin and he was really big into anime. And I was like, I think that's corny. Let's watch the game, and he's really big into anime. And then later on, 10 years later, 15 years later, anime is the biggest thing in the world. He found his people. He belongs to his people. So now he goes to Comic-Con. He goes to DreamCon. He does all these things with his tribe. That's just his tribe, Everybody has to find their own tribe. And once they find it, that's when the community really shines. And what a lot of different footwear brands have been doing is bringing in community pieces. We have the World Cup. New York's still on fire going off with the World Cup. And, finding your own tribe when it comes to football, all the activations, experimental market that's going on there. That's really bringing the people together. And I think the people are more than happy to actually get outside, have a good time, and actually feel like they're a part of something.
IRL, it's important. I think you're so right. I think it is tough, especially when you get sort of stuck in a rut or stuck in the house, or when that was so normal for so long. It makes it a little tougher to get up and get out. But everybody, introverts, extroverts, everybody, as you said, craves that human connection, craves community. I think the more occasions we're able to create for ourselves to connect with other people, the healthier we're all going to feel.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So thank you so much for getting deep with me. This is already my favorite one I've ever done of this thing. And we just met, but I'm gonna hit you up the next time I come here just to get a beer and hang out. I do appreciate this. You have a unique perspective on the industry, being a part of all these brands and being connected through social to the communities attached to all these brands. Could you tell me about what makes you optimistic about marketing in general? Because I think the future's bright, and I think you might agree.
Yeah, future's very bright. I mean, I know we were talking about your opening statement about AI taking over, coming up with assets and videos and stills for us, but there's still a piece, going back to what I said earlier, still a piece of that feeling that can connect. AI doesn't know what it felt like to get your first pair of Jordans at Foot Locker, inside the mall, or on 34th Street, or wherever that you were at that time. They don't know what music was playing, what the streets smelled like, what the food was, their favorite restaurants. To bring that nostalgic feeling is what drives people to go out there and actually spend their hard-earned money. Everything that I've seen any person do right now that's winning is because they're drawing back to a feeling that resonates with somebody in their lifetime. Jay-Z was up there on the stage this weekend with the Yankee hat on and a haircut. Why? Because he knows every single person that's in that stadium wants to see the Jay-Z that they grew up on.
Dude, that line, the iconic line, I made the Yankee hat more famous than a Yankee can, is the boldest, coolest thing anyone's ever said.
Yeah. And it was a special feeling. It was the greatest. I'm still on a high, as other New Yorkers are, from the weekend. Even though people had to wait outside the concert for 3 hours, it doesn't matter at all.
No.
It was the best concert that we've been to in years, that we might ever have gone to, because of that nostalgic feeling, of that community, of that understanding. And that's what drives the product, and that's what drives any type of brand that's trying to be successful right now.
You have to be there.
Yeah.
I agree. Those experiences are not replicable by anything else.
Yeah.
I also agree with you 100%. It's like growing up, idolizing advertising for me was like, I really did think as a chunky Midwestern kid that I could run faster and jump higher with a certain kind of shoe. I'm I could be like Mike. It's like, no, you can't. But I thought at the time I could because of stuff that was out there.
That jump man was doing it.
And I became aware of, there's an agency called Wyden Kennedy, which I idolized forever. They were the ones who did Nike stuff forever. I remember being like, that feeling of, how did they think of that? That's so smart. That's so cool. And having that be a huge driving force between me wanting to be in this industry is like almost a bit of jealousy, but in a good way. Like, man, I want to be that good someday that I can think of stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I don't think anybody's ever going to feel that way about AI. Like, no one's jealous of something that AI comes up with.
Yeah.
So I think we will always, in sort of a competitive sense, we're always going to want to create cool things and maybe want to do something else and try to challenge ourselves.
And I love wholeheartedly when I see something and I say, damn, why did I think of that? You know, that's how good it is. It makes me wish that I thought of it.
It drives people.
Yeah.
I agree, 100%. So you are known as a person who is highly connected to your family. Could you tell me more about sort of the outside relationships you have, whether it's your mom and grandmother or mentors that you've had or people that you think have gotten you to where you are?
Yeah, my mom's my best friend. She believed in me.
Still talk to mom?
Every day. Before I came in here.
Shout out, mom.
Shout out, mom.
Shout out to mom.
She believed in me, ever since I was born, before I was born. You know, she's like, whatever you want to do. You know, she didn't force me to do, things. You know, it's like, hey, he wants to do something that I have no clue about, but he loves it. He's making me go to the grocery store and buy Source magazines, XXL magazines, and then go to the mall to buy Rockaware and Fat Farm, but he loves it. And she was so happy and so proud when it finally clicked in a way that it was like, okay, now he's like has a career doing the same thing that he was driving me crazy about when he was a child. So she sees that, and that makes her more than proud. You know, she's my best friend, number one, and she's definitely a driver of mine because to make her proud, Every time I show her any campaign that I worked on, and I'm like, Mom, check this out. She's like, okay, this is dope. She even leaves comments.
she knows she contributed to that, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, big time. I used to go to the mall on Saturday, buy a brand new pair of Jordans, come home, and this is when TVs had the fat backs.
Yeah.
I used to put the shoe on top of the television, sit in my room and watch TV. And she was like, what are you doing? But I idolize this shoe so much. Yeah. It gives me such a good feeling to see that shoe that I've acquired it. But now I take that same thought process, and now it's like, okay, how can I tie an idea around this whole time of actually doing that? It's just like when the kid had Mike on his wall back in the day.
Yep.
Now he's got, let's say, LeBron, and that's going to keep on going,
I had the Wings poster.
Yeah, the Wings poster? Yeah, that was a good one. That was a classic one.
Shout out to Dad for getting me the Wings poster for Christmas. Appreciate that. Did you have any mentors growing up that helped you get here? And I'm sure you're a mentor for other people. Why do you think that's important?
Yeah, once I got to Foot Locker, that's when I treated it like college. That's when I was really head down in the books, learning every single thing. And two guys took a liking to me. Well, more than that, I would say Roddy, my guy Ron Merthel, he really put me in position, He was like, yo, this is what you want to do. Okay, I'm going to put you in a position where this is what you can do, So shout out to him. I still talk to him to this day. And of course, Vlad knows who he is. He really believed in me, and he was like, yo, I love everything you're doing. I think you're brighter than anybody outside of this room. And hearing that made me say, oh, snap. That made me really believe in myself even more.
Expectations are real, man.
Yeah.
If somebody tells you like what you're capable of, no, you don't even know it, but it makes you realize it.
Yeah. I had no clue. And then like till this day, when he sees me or sees I'm doing something, he always reminds me, he's like, remember what I told you? And he gives me a pointer. He's like, okay, now work on this, work on that. How are they treating you? That takes a long way too. It goes a long way. It's like, instead of asking, how are you doing? How are they treating you? It's the different ways that people ask you and form their questions that really get you thinking when you're sitting at night in bed and it's quiet. It's like, okay, well, how are they treating me? How do I feel?
It's important to advocate for yourself, even if somebody else has their mind.
Yeah. As far as mentoring for others, when I was at Rock Nation, I always took in any young adult that was either, in a program. Shout out to Lala. I worked with Lala on a program of some kids that was young adults that were trying to find their ways. Took them in, worked with them. It was great time. And still some people that I still mentor till this day that I was able to help get jobs and navigate them in a way. I really am wholehearted on that too, because back in the day, here's a little tidbit a lot of people won't know. Before I got into the industry, I worked as a school aide for a high school in Brooklyn, New York. And it was the toughest job I've ever had in my life because it was one of the roughest schools that exists in Brooklyn, New York. So I take that along with me now. And whenever I see someone that reminds me of the students that I worked with back then, I'm always like, yo, come here, let me talk to you. Let me get you right, and I want to understand what you're trying to do, and I want you to understand how to navigate in this game. And I've had a lot of success stories, so it's really good because a lot of people won't tell you those things. They'll just let you, work all day, and next thing you know, it'll be 10 years later, and you're still doing the same position. But no, what do you want to do? How can we get you there? And let's drive you there.
Sometimes that's all anybody needs is one person to say, hey, like you could go that way, or you could do this. And here's some ways that I got to where I'm at. You could follow that. I think that's awesome to hear, especially finding some diamonds in the rough to help with.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I've taken up a lot of your time, man. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for coming to the Iris North America office.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having this conversation. Is there anything else that you want to share with the folks who are going to see this? Anything that you want to share about something you're up to or that you are looking forward to in the future?
I mean, just pay attention, lock in,
I'm following that.
We're working on some really cool things. So it's going to be a hell of a year. Follow all the channels, Reebok Champion, just pay attention to that. But other than that, just believe in yourself. What I really can go back to my old self and tell is like, hey, believe in everything that you want to do. What do you love wholeheartedly? Okay, cool. You love sneakers, you love fashion, you love hip hop. That's where you need to go. You don't need to be a lawyer and a doctor and finance. No, you don't need to do that. You need to do exactly what you love because that's where you're going to shine. Shout out to Emory Jones. Emory Jones has always told me this. Use your superpower. And when he always used to tell me that used to always hit. And now I always take that and I think about it. Whenever I'm in a meeting or a boardroom, I'm going to use my superpower. I'm going to use what no one else in here knows to speak up and believe in myself.
Amen. I honestly believe that 100%. I've heard people speaking publicly and saying, like, it's a myth. Follow your passion is a myth. It's like, no, like you can, of course, go get some miserable job that you hate. Mm-hmm. But like you said, you're not going to want to wake up in the morning and go to that job.
I've been there. You're not.
It is so much better to follow something that you love and something that you're passionate about and that you can contribute to with that superpower.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing it too, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
The fact that I get to talk to people like you as part of my job makes me feel incredibly blessed. And I can't even explain it to you how much fun it is for me to talk to people like you.
No, thank you for having me. Sure.
Thank you so much. Jae Yannick from Authentic Brands Group on the Iris North America Optimist Brief. Thank you so much for joining me, man. Dan Lascarbo from Iris signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.